Behind the Ramble is proudly sponsored by GLASBY Pallets. They're offering a one-stop solution for all of your pallet needs. Get in touch on 01709 585 646 to discuss your pallet requirements. Thank you to Sonny and the team at GLASBY Pallets for all their support of Behind the Ramble.
Coops here. Subscribe to Behind The Ramble. Keep following, and all the best.
The Poohousery.
The Poohousery. What is happening, Ramblers? And welcome back to Behind the Ramble. This is, of course, Hot Topic. And I think I've got an idea as to what the topic may be tonight, or certainly one of the topics may be tonight. And yeah, it'll be a certain return of a certain Mac. And I wonder if that will be a big enough hint to anybody. So, we are proudly sponsored by GLASBY Pallets. I've no idea why there is the wrong logo on there, but we will get that sorted out. I certainly need somebody to have a clue how to run a YouTube channel to help me out with this, please. So this will be going live. Well, the recorded version will be going on Behind the Ramble. So to all our Ramblers that are about to join us on stream and in the comments, please do bear that in mind as and when we're talking about certain things. So first, I'm welcoming to the screen, no longer a debutant on the Ramble. He's a hardened member now of this panel, and it is Babyface Brett.
Well, 43, it's not bad.
43.
Yeah.
You said that to me the other day. Actually, do you know, it's gone out of my mind because I could not believe it that much. It cannot be fact, mate. You don't look at a day.
Well, you mocked me for having Maury's hair last time, so I changed my name.
I didn't mock you for that. We're all jealous of Maury's hair, pal. We're all jealous of Maury's hair.
Yeah.
I'm going to welcome in another one of our now regulars. In fact, we've got a couple of regulars waiting now in the wings, but it's our Cornish blade, Steve Morwood. How's it going, pal?
Well, I've got a stinking cold, mate, since I shaved the beard off.
I know. It's a shame. I enjoyed the beard. I like the Alan Cork look. I thought it was good. It didn't bring as much luck at Wembley, did it? But I enjoyed it all.
That's why it came off. Depending on how lazy I get, it might make another reappearance.
We shall see. We shall see. So we're working on limited numbers tonight, intentionally, because we had 10 last time, which was great. And I love the fact that so many people are keen to come on. And this is sort of a platinum Rambler. What's the word? It's a benefit of being a platinum Rambler, I suppose, being able to come on. And I appreciate everybody that's willing to do that. But I want everybody to feel like they've got a chance to have their own say as well. And I just think it can get, or it's the potential to get a little bit too chaotic if there's too many on screen at the same time. So welcoming in our next guest from the Greek Isles. I don't know if it is the Greek Isles. I think I've introduced him from that before and he's corrected me, but it's Roy. How's it going? Corinthos blade. Is it the Greek Isles, Roy? Oh, he's muted. He's muted. There's no sound in Greece.
Okay.
He's back.
We're
How
back.
you doing, pal?
Yeah. All right. Well, I was all right until I heard what might be happening. So
what do you mean?
When we get to talk
yes. The
I'll
top.
say my piece.
Yeah. I was suddenly thinking, is he that annoyed that I'm only having a few people on screen? I thought Roy'd be all right with that. And then it's not that at all, is it? He's a certain man that might be returning. So we'll get to that as well.
What, Andy the Blade?
Well, he'd fancy himself up front instead of the man we might be talking about. So this will be a true measure of what the fan base, or certain elements of the fan base, are thinking. Our next guest, it's Mr. Positive himself. It's Mark Meldrew. How's it going, pal?
Good evening, chaps.
Good evening, mate. Oh dear, I can sense the tone of how it's
positive
go
Meldrew.
No, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Yeah.
Okay. So let's start it off with the order that you were introduced. I suppose that's probably the cleanest way to do it. Oh, he's gone. Look, that's how all right it is. Mark's gone.
2 seconds.
He's done one. Yeah, he's finished. Brett, thoughts on the potential return of Ollie McBurney to Sheffield United while I try and get this sponsorship thing sorted out in the background?
That's an hard one. It's not a bad sign if it's a free. Like I say, he's better with his feet than Moore is. Like,
I agree with
Kiefer
that.
Moore in air, like he's brilliant, best person. But when you pass it to his feet, I struggle to see why he's there.
Do you think if we built a super number 9, like with Kiefer Moore's heading ability and McBurney's hold-up play, do you think that'd be something? We just need somebody to score goals, then, don't we? Out of a number 9.
Well, I say that's the only problem we've got is when we play one up front, he's nodding it down into space, and there's no one there. It's like, to be honest, he's good. Like he brings something different, I suppose. And like I say, if he's free, can't really moan too much, but. I think, like you said, people get too fixated that he's played for us, that it's a step back. It's not a step back if that's the best we can get. It don't matter if he's played for us or not.
I understand the point they make in terms of you should always be looking to progress as a club, and some of the panel may be of that mindset that we should be looking forward and not back to players that have played with us previously. I just don't think you can have it as a blanket rule that if they've played for us previously, you cannot entertain them coming back, because the question should always be the player that we are looking to currently bring in, whether they've played for us or not, do they improve the squad? Ideally, they improve the first 11, but do they improve the squad? I would argue, and obviously, I hope he's not watching this, but I would argue McBurney doesn't improve our first 11, but I could definitely argue that he improves the squad. So if he's coming in on a free, it is just my opinion that I'm okay with that as a signing. I spoke to my dad about it last night, and I'll continue to elaborate on my point, but I want to hear everybody else's opinion. So David, what's your thoughts on the return of the Mac potentially?
I've got a lot to say about this.
Okay, go on. I ain't got a bleep button, so please be careful.
No.
As you go through it. No, it's just a no. Is that it? Just a no.
No, I mean, it would probably improve the squad. I get that point, but no.
Okay. The thing is,
that's all I can say.
No, I think it's a thorough point, really well made. I like that you elaborated on the reasons behind it, but I don't think we're going to sign a statement number 9 this window, because I don't. If you look at our strikers, particularly if we stick to playing 3 up front, but even if we play 4 up, we play 1 up front, but even if we play 2 up front and want a 4th striker, I don't think we're going to splash big cash on it, because
it's got to be somebody that's willing to sit on the bench. Yeah,
well, and I think McBurney would have to be, because if you bring in a box office number 9, then you're nudging out last season's record transfer in Tom Cannon, and that just doesn't make good business sense for the club, really. No. So I think they will want to show faith in certainly Campbell, who's earned that. Moore, who has done it in not enough, to be fair, but done it in fits and starts, and Tom Cannon, who obviously will get more time because of the fee that he's coming for. So I think we'll end up with a signing in the McBurney mould. I don't mean necessarily as a player, but I mean in terms of a free transfer, that maybe Emil Rees that we're being linked with from Preston as well, who's not going to be a big difference maker for us, and I would acknowledge that as well. But if he's coming in as 4th, then it's squad padding essentially, isn't it? And making sure that, well, if he comes in and Ryan O'Neill stays, for example, then Ryan O'Neill could go out on loan now because we've got 4 strikers. So there's little things like that. So Roy, I've seen I can sense your opinion too. I feel I've been seeing the little subtle head shakes as we've been talking about it. What's your thoughts on it, pal?
What's my thoughts on it? Have we got an hour?
Yeah, we've got a hard hour because I'm on with Jamie Dumpling bang on 7:30. So yes, we have. And it's again family channel.
Definite no from me. I mean, I think is Wilder looking at signing him so he can say that he's been scouting the foreign markets and he signed this guy.
He signed the number 9 from La Liga.
Yeah, his name's Don Quixote and he played for Las Palmas, right? So we can say, oh look, we're looking abroad for players. Look, he's garbage.
I love that.
He was garbage when he was here before. He went to Las Palmas. He was garbage at Las Palmas. Don't score goals. He runs like he's running in treacle. He likes a fake. No. You know, I just don't get it. It's a completely backward retro step. And I agree.
Just say what you mean, Roy.
Yeah, it's like talking to me, Dad.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't go back for people who's been here before, because we'd all lay down the bloody red carpet if Illiman was coming back.
Yes, we would. Yeah.
It's not that. We don't need a forward. We don't need a forward. We don't need a striker. He's not a striker anyway. Couldn't strike a match, never mind strike a ball properly. He's absolutely bloody rubbish. And if the owners are watching this, you need to sack Chris Wilder. And I love Chris Wilder. You need to sack him because he's peeing your money up the wall. What a complete and utter waste of your money. Okay? Rubbish.
McBurney on a free. So just his wage.
It's not a free though, is it? What about his wages
so
and his signing on? It's not a free.
Yeah,
if he signs, I mean this seriously, if he signs, I've finished with United. I've finished with them. I shall unsubscribe to the Ramble. I shall unsubscribe to my streaming service. I'll never go near United again. And I'll just watch third division football in Greece, because that's how much I feel about 60 odd years watching United.
And that's where McBurney end up in Greece. At some stage. Like, no, I can't get rid of him.
Yeah, he'd be in Greece as a bloody sponge diver. That's all, because that's all he's good for. Absolute ridiculous decision. Ridiculous.
Gone from sublime to ridiculous there, haven't we? David just giving a very brief, succinct answer of no, not for me. And Roy giving the full shebang as to definitely not. Definitely
just
not.
had to get that off my chest.
Mate, that's what we're here for. I love it. I love it. Thank you for that.
I try not
so at the minute, no pressure on Mark Meldrew here, but with 2-2, I make it. I think he'd be an half decent squad signing. I think Brett can see the merit in bringing him in as a squad player. Nobody's saying that he's going to be challenging for starting number one spot.
Then we don't need him.
No, we don't. I don't think we need him if we're sticking with one up front. I don't think we need another striker if we're sticking with one up top.
We need two centre halves. We need a right back. We need two wide players with pace. That's what we need.
Without a doubt, it is one of the furthest down positions on the pecking, if not the furthest down position on the pecking order.
Absolutely.
With central midfield, and obviously central midfield might be in flux anyway because of who might go. So I would say striker is the least, but it's opportunistic because of who it is and when he might be coming. And obviously it's a rumour that probably holds a little bit of water. So, and I don't know that for a fact, but you can see why he would be linked. Mark, as the one to split the difference, what you saying, Mr. Meldrew?
I actually won't mind it.
Oh, what? You've just cost me a sub on the Ramble. Roy's off.
Do you know what?
You are on the pedestal. You've fallen off.
In fact, I hope he don't sign. I hope he goes to Roy's team in Greece, because that would make my day.
Hey, you won't get in our team.
Get him back on after he signs for them. Get him back on.
Won't get in.
Now, I
won't
think
be able to get in touch with him.
I think, like you've said, Jimmy, I don't think for 1 minute he's coming in to start. And I think, like we've alluded to already, there's other positions that we need to sort of prioritise. And if he's a bit of a signing that comes after everything else, I don't mind that. But I hope it's not something that comes in and it's like, right, he's one of so many, but we're not going to strengthen in this position. I mean, from what I gather, when he were here before, he only didn't sign his contract because he were offered more money.
That's right, yeah.
A lot of people would do the same. We can all sell what we want, really, but they would if you're offered more money. And you've got to think as well, you just had a young family as well. It could have been life-changing for him in that sense.
I haven't seen anybody, even those that, because some are obviously, is an opinion divider, into, but I don't think anybody has disputed his choice, because the lifestyle as well, not just the money, but going out there and living in the sunshine, playing in La Liga. It's an absolute dream move for him, on more money than Sheffield United would have offered him. I don't think anybody, if you wanted him to stay or leave, I don't think anybody begrudged him it. But he can't now come back and expect to start for me.
For the extra money he got playing for over in Spain, he'd have spent that on suntan lotion.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. That'll have been his ice bucket challenge, getting dipped in with a bit of what do you call it, suntan lotion, because he's a pasty boy, isn't he? But look, I think he would be an asset is a strong word. A strong word indeed. But if we
I'd take the E and the T off.
yeah, if we're to go with a potential switch to 2 up top, I don't think it's a bad option to have off the bench to have Ollie McBurney coming to your side personally. And you've got
I think
to
that's
also
what it's for, though, isn't it? I think it's for if we have to switch up styles and stuff for different teams.
I agree.
I don't think he'll be out for anything else.
I think
Not
you look
like
at
we have preferred.
you look at the strikers we've got, the 3 main strikers, and apologies for not including Ryan Brewster and Ryan O'Neill. I know people will have in reason to include them. They're all very different. Tyrese Campbell has got a little bit of everything, I think, in terms of strength. He's quite quick. He can finish. Tom Cannon, we haven't seen the best of, I think it's fair to say, but he plays off the shoulder, and I think he's going to be better in a 2 anyway. Kiefer Moore gives us a completely different dimension. Best aerially that we've got, and if we want to, if we're playing against a tall team, he might be somebody to consider for set pieces and things like that. McBurney offers us something different as well. His hold-up play is probably the best of the 4, I would probably argue. And that's not what you sign a centre-forward predominantly to do. I understand that. I think his goal-to-game ratio is really poor, if I'm honest. But I do think he does more for the team than he's given credit for, personally. Go on, Matt.
My only worry about it is obviously the last time he played for us in Championship, he had a limited side of him. And that's probably the best season he's had for United. I don't know. I'm a bit. I think it'd be a good signing, but I am a bit tentative with it at the same time. I'm not sort of like, oh, we've got to sign him. But I just hope we're careful with it, and it's right deal for club.
Yeah, I think that's fair, mate. I think that's fair to say. Okay, so we've established everybody's opinions on Ollie McBurney, and I think we've been pretty clear on that. And thank you for being so open and honest about it. Let me just get into people's comments before we move on to a different subject. Matt says, evening Ramblers. Wow, the WhatsApp group has been on fire today. So is it true that the old boy McBurney is back with his coloured boots? And yeah, Liam Darling is a better player. We'll get into that as well, potentially. Matt says, if it's true about Tommy Doyle, that we could be available for around 3 to 4 million, wow. We've got to give it a try and see if we can get him to be a top signing for us. Up the Blades, up the Rambles, top man. Holly says, evening everybody. Good evening, Rich. How you doing, pal? Jamie Dumpling says, beardless Morwood jump scare. He's been on before, clean shaven before this. You're obviously not watching as frequently as you should, Jamie, now that you're a big star. Danny says, evening, gents. I'm not happy going to... not happy. I'm going to comment as I'll be driving from Portsmouth to Bristol tonight. Have a good show. I'll keep listening. Thank you, pal. Jamie says, I get it's been Ollie Mack's birthday, but the amount they've posted about him says something. You could say he's in Sheffield because maybe he lives here, but a summer holiday to Sheffield. Yes, that's a fair point. While I'm reading the comments out, I'm going to welcome our 6 of 6 tonight because we are sort of trying to keep a settled number on screen. It is hopefully a man we'll see a little bit more of over the summer in the coming season. Clarky, how's it going, pal?
I'm all right, mate. Sorry, I've literally just jumped on. I've got no idea what you're talking about. I've just shoved my tea down my neck.
I'd like you to just give us your very brief opinions on a certain striker that's been rumoured to be returning to Sheffield United and what your thoughts might be.
Do I want him? Not necessarily. not desperately at all. But I do kind of get if he's available on a free. I'm making the assumption that we haven't got loads of money to spend. And if we have, there are more important parts of the side that need strengthening rather than up the top. Even if we go with 2 up top, we need 4 strikers. Obviously, we've got Noah Brewster now. Not that it seems that Wilder calls him a striker anyway. So your 4th option really then is One. Now, if rumours are true, and Liverpool really do want to spend a lot of money on One, then look, we aren't in a position where we can wait for One to get better. We can send him out on loan. We need that 4th striker in. So why not take the cash, use the cash to strengthen elsewhere, and get McBurney in on as a 4th striker? But the worst case scenario is if you get him on a couple of years, 2 or 3 years for free, and in 12 months' time we can get somebody better in, well, you're selling him on and actually making a bit of profit of that 18 million, getting back in that you spent in the first place.
Right. Well, thank you for that, Clarky. And I can now reveal that you have put us 4-2 up in the McBurney to return camp. because
Right.
we've had a
Paul.
straightforward no from Dave Morwood. We have had an absolutely definitely not from Roy. we've had a I can see the benefit from the other three, and a little bit like you. So it's not a strong yes, but it is a yes all the same in terms of we can see the benefit overall to him coming back in, where the thought process might be behind it. I don't think he excites any of us. I know that Roy and Dave have made that particularly clear, but I don't think it's a wow. But what I was saying to the lads was, I don't think we will sign a statement number 9 this year because it pushes down our previous statement signing in Tom Cannon. I think he likes Kiefer Moore as well. I think McBurney or somebody of that reputation. I know we've been linked to it, Emil Rees at Preston as well. Those sort of signings where they can complement the squad rather than pushing for being starting striker when we've got so many other areas to strengthen. And coming on to that as well, as I say, I'll get through a couple of the comments just to finish the McBurney chat, but I am going to come on to where we need to strengthen as well. It's already been mentioned about centre half. Tommy Doyle's been mentioned, so we can get into all of that. Lee says, I'm a little bit on the fence about signing McBurney. If the deal's good for the club and he accepts, he'll be a squad player. I can accept that. Roy's Andy the Blade too, says Rich. Absolutely right. He's even shaking his head with people that can see the point that we're signing McBurney. That's me dad Oliver. Bit harsh on McBurney and Wilder, Roy, says Jake. No, I think he's out saying it in jest about Wilder, Jamie, and correct me if I'm wrong, Roy, but I think it's a strong opinion, and people do feel like this because a lot of people, my dad included, and we joke about my dad, and I would never try and speak on behalf of my dad or Roy, but it's seen as a significant waste of money by the club, and it's frustrating to think what you could have done with that cash, and we weren't to know it at the time, but now the fact that you're bringing him back, it's a bit of a reminder as to where we've been previously. No, not Ollie McBurney, says Charlie. I don't rate him, don't like the way he plays, feel as if he's running on half battery charge. There you go. Sai says, evening all, me and my brother just had the Ollie Mack conversation and we think he's not good enough, but he's better than Moore. Hopefully it's just the rumour mill going round. I think Mark's just taking a call. Either that or he's fed up of Roy saying no to Ollie McBurney. When Las Palmas played Real Madrid, McBurney got a higher foot mob rating than Mbappe. Mic drop. Jamie. Jamie, pal. So he's got 3 goals in La Liga all season. So there's, and we talked a little bit last night with my dad about stats and how you can read into them however you want. And he might have had a barnstormer of a game against Real Madrid, and more power to him if he did. But we know we're not getting a player that's better than Kylian Mbappe. So pick your mic up and let's go again. Ollie says, with Ollie Mack coming in, does that mean bye-bye Brewster? I think so. Although, like Clarkey says, I don't think Wilder considers Brewster a striker. I think he considers him a versatile forward, if you like, who can play on the right, can play in the... I think he's predominantly seeing him as a 10 at the moment rather than a striker. So I don't think it definitely means that, but my opinion would be that Brewster probably leaves. If I had a choice to play from Las Palmas, though, it would be centre-back Scott McKenna instead, says Lee. A big no from Rich. Rather have Robbo playing full-time. Oh, that's a huge call. That is a huge call. And Matthew says, I would take McBurney as a backup player and on a free, that's it. Well, there you go. And I think that's... So we can see the balance and the swing. Nobody is saying absolutely yes, get the boy back in. It'd be an absolute game changer. I don't think that's the type of signing we're looking at, is it? But no. Well, I think a conversation that I will be having with Dave the Nose on Friday night will be, how much work does this Blades defence need? So we're not going to go too deeply into it, but you just look at the thumbnail there in itself. And Elliott looks like he'll go. Robinson, we all have our opinions on Robinson. Some think he's okay at championship level or even good at championship level, and that's absolutely fine to think that. I don't, particularly for a top-end championship side. Burrows is the only one I'm really happy with. Sariki, I think he's not the finished article. McCallum, I don't think gives Burrows a strong enough push at the moment. And the other two, as much as I love Reece Norrington-Davis, I think he's a shadow of the player that he was before he got injured. And Jamie Shackleton has not done it. He's just been injured or unavailable for other reasons and things like that. So there's a lot of work to be done in that back line. And our chat today, for those of you that have more power to you if you've been able to stick with it today or even glance through it, because there's been a lot of activity in there and a lot of strong opinions. Tanganga has been a name that's been touted about, who today it's been mooted that he's got a £1.2 million release clause for Premier League sides. So if Millwall have no need to consider a bid from any Championship sides, they will get Premier League interest at that price. I think that takes him out of the conversation, even personally. Harry Darling, there's been a lot of chat of, is he good enough, is he not good enough on a free? Jimmy Dunn hasn't been spoken about much today, but he's rumoured to be coming in at that right-back spot, which we all know about. Chris Mepham has been a name doing the rounds as well. Where do we want to start, lads? Who wants to start us off in terms of defensive reinforcements and where you think...
I'll go for it.
Go for it, Bet. Go for it, mate.
It depends all with defence on what we're going to be playing at formation. Like if we're playing 5 at back with wing backs, you've got Sarika that plays really well as a wing back. As a right back, he's very wanting. But if we've got Dunn as well, because he can play centre back, if you played him on right of the centre back, if you know what I mean, and if we manage to keep an elf at left, and I would like Darling at middle, you've got Burrows ready made on left. That's a full back line with Freeze and.
I agree.
But again, we struggle if we're going to 4 at back. You can't really play Sariki as a right back, so you'd have to play Dunn there. So we'd need another centre back, hopefully.
Yeah,
but I think we look more attacking as a 5 because the wing backs still give us width and they get forward, especially Sariki.
Yeah, I agree.
It reminds me of Asper Bockus when he was always in front of striker.
Nice throwback that. Now that shows you 43. That shows
yeah,
you 43.
it does.
Asper Bockus in there. But I agree. I think the squad as it is currently made up, Roy briefly mentioned earlier that we need to be looking at what wingers we're going to bring in if we're sticking with this system. And absolutely right. We haven't got legitimate wingers in this side. And we've played all season. Clarkey, it's been a big point of contention with you as well, mate. I know we've talked about it a fair bit. The system doesn't suit. I know we've been successful with it, and we're not really criticising the output in terms of the turnover of points and things like that, but we haven't got players like square pegs for square holes. It's not been that way for the majority of the season. And I look at our squad as it's set up, and we've got Sariki, who's a wing back. We've got Burrows, who, yes, he's a good left back, and he's got in the team of the season as a left back. But we've all seen him going forward, and I'm pretty sure that we'd all agree he could be a really strong wing back as well. Jimmy Dunn would slot in beautifully on the right-hand side of a 3 because he's played right back and done really well for QPR, but he's a centre-back by trade. So I think you then need 2 centre halves because Robinson, would you mind Robinson to stay in a 3? Because I don't think he's anywhere near as bad in a 3 as he is in a 2. And that's a huge sort of climb down from where I've been. But I could get on board with that potentially if it has to be the left footer on the left-hand side. I don't think an L stays, but if he does, that's your back line complete. If he does go, then you could look at Harry Darling or Chris Mepham coming in. And I think you've got a really strong back line. You're then changing the formation to fit with what you've got. So you've got your 2 centre midfielders, and you've potentially got Callum O'Hare and Gus Amer fighting it out for a 10 spot, which is an unbelievable competition at this level, and then 2 strikers. And I think that suits the players that we've got. So, David, any thoughts on the defensive reinforcements that we're potentially going to be looking at, where we need to strengthen?
At the moment, I'm with you, Jimmy, that it's a 3-5-2 squad that we've got.
Yeah.
You know, we can't... I mean, I wouldn't mind Mepham coming in. If Robinson's going to play on the left side and Nell's gone and we've got Jimmy Dunn on the right, we need a commanding central defender in the middle.
Yeah.
Chris Mepham could do that. Harry Darling could do that.
Yeah. The only other thing is that I would say is, and I played this, put this graphic up on a couple of different things. Just because we've got a 3-5 or 3-4-1-2, 3-5-2, whichever way you want to look at it, squad at the moment, doesn't mean it can't still be a fairly blank canvas this summer, because you look at the changes that we've been through, and obviously this takes January into account as well. But this is the turnover of players predominantly over the summer, and obviously a little bit of January in there as well, but a significant number. And that is, you know, unusually high. But it does mean that you could, if you bring in 5 new players for your first team, which is not beyond the realms of possibility, then we could completely change it and get this 4-2-3-1 working. Like Roy says, it's a couple of wingers. We've already got the strikers in place. We don't need to add Bernie and stick with that. Tens are decent as well. We've got the central midfielders. We need 2 centre halves and 2 wingers potentially then for that form, and a right back. So that'd be your 5, wouldn't it? I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts, Roy, on the defensive recruitment, but overall recruitment this summer and what we need?
Do you really think that Anel will go?
Yeah, I do.
Have you heard anything?
No, I haven't. And he might not. He might not because, and again, it's something I spoke to Dave the Nose about. I've got in my mind that he's going to go because he'll be cheap, and he'll be cheap because he's in the last year of his contract, and I don't think he'll sign and will want to cash in. Yeah. But it depends what we get for him, because if you're talking as low as £3 million, then you might as well keep him. You might as well keep him and see season out. So I'm not convinced he goes, Roy, but I think there's a strong chance he does. I think he's the most likely player that we don't want to go that does, personally. Yeah.
Yeah, unless he forces a move. But I think that Chris will stick with the back 4. I think that's the way he's thinking now. So if we stick with the back 4, if Anel goes, we need 3 centre backs, because we've only got Robbo, then we've got young Baptiste, and we've got nobody else, have we? So we need 2 good, solid, proper centre halves. And Robbo as a backup to one of them. Yes. We do need a right back. If Jimmy Dunn's coming in, or that lad from Earth of Berlin, what was his name? John Joe Kenny. John Joe Kenny, yeah. He's a right back, isn't he?
He is.
Speaky, I've said this so many times, he's a winger. He's not great as a right back. He's fantastic going forward. He should have played instead of no track backy, shouldn't he, really?
Yeah, he should.
Because at least he has got defensive capabilities. Yeah. So we need a right back. We need 2 centre halves unless Anel goes. We're fine at left back. I think, Harrison, but Little H is that's his place. Whether we go with him as a wing back or not, he's the best left back at the club.
I agree.
We're fine in midfield, except we need wide players, and this is where we have to think a little bit. At the moment, if he plays this 4-2-3-1, we're just not sure where Gus and O'Hara are going to play out. That 3 behind the 1 seems a bit wishy-washy, doesn't it? It's like, who's going to play, who's not going to play, who's in the best position, who's not in the best position. Are we playing Harmaday just because he likes playing there and we're shoehorning one of them into the team?
And he's good enough to do a job there, even though he's not a left winger. Yeah, you're right.
Even if we go 4-4-2, we need more pace out wide. We need, especially if we're going to go over the top into the channels like we used to. We need pace on the outside, and we're okay up front. So
especially if we bring McBurney in, Roy.
We could bring McBurney in as a centre half, a backup centre half. Fantastic defensive headers he makes, or a bit of shirt pulling. Plenty of shirt pulling. That's another thing about Robbo and Anel, isn't it? We need 2 centre halves who don't try to rip shirts off people.
Well, you can trust.
Try to hug them to death.
Absolutely right. We can trust in high pressure situations. Yeah. Honestly, heart's in my mouth half at time when somebody spins them. You think, they're either going to let them go because they're through and they've done you, or you're pulling them back. So.
And we also need 2 centre backs who can run. Who have a little bit of pace, so they can chase down somebody who's gone in behind them. Yeah. Although with Hamza, we saw that it was in here, didn't we? It was in there. He didn't need a lot of pace. He was always thinking, I know where he's going. So I don't know who to suggest, because I don't know that many of them.
No, and that's fair. That's fair. It's more a case of where we think we really need to strengthen. Because Mark, I'm going to come to you next, mate, because I know you've been waiting patiently. But Jamie Shackleton, Reece Norrington-Davis, they're not the type of players to push us on, are they, really? And I think it's unfortunate, particularly in Reece's case, who's had such a torrid time with injuries. But there can't be any room for sentiment, can there, Jack Robinson? There can't be any room for sentiment as well. And we have to go with what's best for the side.
Nice to get that in.
I don't know what you mean. I think it's Tourette's. It's Jack Robinson Tourette's I've got. So, yeah, probably. Marco, where you think we're going to be looking to strengthen in somewhere in terms of defensive recruits? Where do we need most?
I think we need 4, me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not convinced we're fully solid at left back. I
Really?
don't. Yeah, I'm not a McCallum fan. I think we can get better than him as a number 2. A few have said it. Don't get me wrong. In air, it's fantastic, but you put ball on the floor, and I just don't. No, not for me.
Do you know my dad last night, and I've never thought about it this way because they don't look similar at all in the build. But he said he's very similar to Sariki in a lot of ways. He's got a great spring on him. He's not as good an athlete, obviously, and he's better in air than Sariki. But they've got similar flaws in the game. They're both very good going forward. You don't particularly trust them on the ground defensively going backwards. And I'd never really put them together. But I'm same with McCallum. I haven't written him off by any means because I think he could potentially get better. You can see why he's had a high ceiling of potential when he was younger, but he's not quite hit the heights. And I think he makes silly mistakes at times. I don't know whether that's because he's playing him frequently, but he's not pushing Harrison Burrows at all, is he? Really, for that starting spot? For
No.
I think problem with that position as well is you've got Burrows who's an absolute shoe-in to start, but after that, it's can you get somebody of real quality that's going to come and play second fiddle, like I've touched on other day, like Alfie Doherty, as an option. Is he going to come and no? He's probably going to be second choice. McCallum's probably happy to do that.
Having said that, though, Mark, having said that about Doherty, the reason it's a good shout is he can play left wing as well.
Yeah,
so, like, if Gus is coming, he can be that. Yes, he'd still be 12th or 13th man in squad, but he'll play most games because he'll come on for either Burrows or Gus, I think, at times as well.
Yeah.
So he's an option, isn't he? He's flexible in that regard.
I think right back is, I would say right back's the most important position that we need to strengthen. Sariki defensively, I'm not convinced. I think he's fantastic going forward. Like Reece has touched on. And I just, there's a lot of decisions to make. I think defence is definitely a key area, 100%. I think you can argue with midfield about, we don't need this or we don't need that, but defence is like we need 2 centre halves. It's really tough who to pick and who's available. Like you said, there's Darling, there's Jimmy Dunn. I quite like Bobby Thomas at Coventry. Only thing about him, I don't know if he's got that pace that we necessarily need, because Anel is a bit more pacey, although I do, like you said, Jim, I do worry sometimes when he gets turned because he doesn't seem to get back. I mean, look at that Isidore for Sunderland when he did that at Stadium of Light. He couldn't get near him. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a tough position, but I think that's why you pay money, because everybody wants 2 decent centre halves, don't they? But it's not as easy as that.
Yeah. Clarkey, defence, I think, screams that we need, like everybody's already touched on, we need reinforcements and fresh bodies and strengthening. I think it's the place where we are weakest. But like we touched on earlier, you, like myself, have questioned this formation purely because we haven't got any wingers. Where would your priority be in your summer recruitment? Would it be, because the further forward you go, the more expensive they get, don't they? So the wingers, if you're bringing them in on a permanent, would be tricky. Loans are different tale, but where are you prioritising first?
It's really difficult, this. I'm with Mark. I think we need 4 at the back. And if you go down that route of where you go at 3 centre halves, for example, I've been at work all day, so my brain might not be working very well. But the only centre half I can think of we've got left is Robbo.
Yeah.
So
if you just assume that Anel's going, which I do, and that might not be right, but you're right. The one we can rely on being there next season is Robbo.
So we need 4. So we need 2 and at least 2 to cover. That's what likely.
Yeah.
You've got Sariki as a wing back. You need to bring somebody in at that side as well as a wing back if you're going to go to that formation.
And when you say sorry, Clive, when you say we need 4, do you mean 4 centre halves?
Yeah, because you've got 3 to play and at least 2 cover.
So also Oh, so you're sticking with 3 at back then? You're going with 3
Yeah,
at back?
no. What I'm saying
like
is,
Roy,
if you go down that route,
I'm like Roy. I think we personally, I think we're better, but I agree with Roy. I think Wilder will stick with 4.
but this is what I'm saying. It's good. I'm going to come around to answer your question in a minute. So if you go down that route, you're going to need all those.
Yeah.
And that's going to be really hard to recruit for.
Yeah.
You get all those centre halves of sufficient quality, that'll be really hard to do. Yeah. So I think you're right. He probably sticks with the 4. So personally, I think you've got to get 2 right backs as well, because I don't think Siriki is a right back. And whether you do, I don't know, you cash in on Siriki, whether you push him forward and play him on the wing, or whether you just have him for cover when you want to get a right back that's pushing on, maybe so. So therefore, what I'm saying, I suppose, is it's probably easier to stick with the formation he's got.
Yeah.
With the 4 at the back and the 3 behind the 1, sorry. Or certainly play a 4-4-2 potentially. So then you're prioritising wide players, aren't you?
Yes.
You see where I'm coming from?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say as well, my only worry about going back to a 5 is, and we know we can play it because we've played it before, but we got promoted last time playing that system, and I think the issue was we went up and quite quickly we were getting tore to shreds. And we'd get that had happened in a 4 or a 5, but I think what you'd get from a lot of fan base then is, well, we've played this before, teams just found us out, and that's not worked when we've gone up before. I think the whole point of last season was to freshen it up, a new system with different players and a different way of playing, and now we're all talking about potentially going back. I'm not saying we will, but that's just what I think about 5 at back. I do think he'll stick with a 4.
And as much as I don't like that, Mark, I haven't liked it this season. It's probably because the recruitment wasn't right, and maybe he's looked at the side and said, look, lots of Premier League sides play this way, so we need to be like that. What we'll do is we'll have a 2-year transition process where we'll play like this in the first season. We'll half recruit towards it. We'll see what we can do, but we'll get good at doing it. So the way, if and when we do get promoted, and I've had 2 years to build the side that I want in that formation, then at least we go up and we're relatively effective, and we can spend money on improving it from that point forward.
We're better players. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I suppose, Jimmy, I'm answering the question. I think the priority is those wingers, but we still can't take an eye off the fact that we need so many defenders as well.
Okay. But I will say, sorry, I was just going to say as well, he talked about most important position. I think if Vinny leaves, I think that trumps everything. If he leaves, that is priority, in my opinion.
Hard to replace him, though.
No, it is, and you're gonna have to pay to replace him, aren't you? But you're looking at a decent fee if he goes. But I think he's key.
And that's why it's so interesting, the transfer. And I know you get linked all over the place, and it as we've seen, it's like a drug to some people in chat sometimes, because it's so, you get caught up in it so much in terms of what could happen, and that's the excitement, and that's part of it. But it's in flux all the time, because you don't know what position you're going to need. At the moment, today, we can say right back's probably our most important, because we never settled on it all season. Yeah. But other than that, if you're sticking with formation, I agree with Clark. Other than the centre halves, which we need to address, you'd be looking at wingers as well as an equal priority, because we need legitimate wingers in this side. If I could ask each of you for a name that you think you would like, and I'm going to go reverse now just to catch him out, Mark Meldrew, who would you like to see us bring? Realistically, I'm not talking about Borja Sainz. I'm not talking about Jack Grealish.
Oh, that's me gone now.
Any position.
Any position you would like to see come through door for United first, just to get it nailed. Because obviously we've got names like Jimmy Dunn in the mix. Tommy Doyle today has come back into the conversation at a knockdown 3 to 3.5 million. If that's Danny Hall's reporting it, so it's definitely got some substance to it. You know, there's other. Harry Darling's been mentioned. Obviously, Ollie McBurney's been mentioned. I know Roy will probably snap that one up if we give him a chance. So it's Mark. Who are you bringing in first? Who are you bringing in as your? It don't have to be any of those names, but anybody you'd like to see come through the door.
If he could walk through the door tomorrow, I'd have Tanganga.
Really? You'd drop a lot of money on Tanganga.
Yeah.
So would Liam.
I know Liam would. I know Liam would.
Liam's probably counting his change as we speak.
I don't think I'll let you have it because I haven't defined the rules well enough clearly, but I don't think that is a realistic signing because if he's got a 1.2 release clause for Premier League teams,
I'll go again.
You are.
I'll go again.
Go on then. Go on. Give us another.
Now, I'd probably like to see Bobby Thomas come in.
Would you? As a solid centre half option.
I think he's doable. I think it's realistic. I can't see Coventry wanting to let him go cheap,
No.
but I think we'd have a good chance.
Is he captain of Coventry? I'm just gonna because it's certainly in captain mould. I'm not sure he is.
Is it Ben? It's Ben Sheaf, isn't it?
Yeah, but Ben Sheaf's
Yeah.
I don't know whether he'll armband while
Is he
anyway.
He might be club captain, but I don't know. But
he's a very, very good option for me. I like him as a player. So you think somebody like that to come in as a statement centre half signing just to get us started off solid? Clarkey, who are you bumping for?
I've said this before, mate, and prioritising wingers, whether it'd have to be a loan or not, I'd go Ben Doak myself. So other players would look at it, they're making a statement here. I want to go and play for them as well.
Would be a statement signing that. Obviously, Everton have been linked with him on a permanent, but it's from their local rivals, so it's unlikely that those deals rarely get done. If he does come back on loan, you'd like to think we'd be in with a shout. If it's going to be Championship level, I think we're still a big enough club at the level to battle out with Southampton, Leicester, and Ipswich. On loan at Middlesbrough last season, did really well, but got injured, which might also sort of stall his acceleration as next loan will be Prem. He might need another loan in Championship potentially. I think that's a good shout as well. I'd love to see him. I think it's probably a little bit far. I'm not convinced we'll be able to get him, but I think it's a good enough shout. So yeah, good shout that, mate. Roy, anybody in particular? You can't have McBurney because that's just too obvious.
Oh, he's gone, I think. Bloody hell. I've no idea, Jim. Honestly, I've no idea.
Okay. So what position then would you like to fill the most as a priority? Do you think it's going to be right back?
Right back. Yeah.
Okay.
Right back at centre half. Yeah.
Yeah. David,
any time because we don't know what's going to happen in the future, do we, with Vinny or anybody else?
Very true, and it will move quickly. Then, like you say, if we suddenly find out Vinny's going for 15 million next week, right? Yeah. Where's Tommy Doyle's phone number or whatever it is that we need to do to move quickly? Yeah. So, David, thoughts on any particular player you'd like to see?
Ben Sheaf.
Yeah. Ben Sheaf. Good shout. But the only thing I'd push back on with that is I don't think at the you have to be assuming there that we're going to lose a centre midfielder, starting centre midfielder. So you have to be thinking that Vinny's gone or City might go.
I'd go with Mott. Talk of Alfie Doughty.
Yeah, Alfie Doughty is a very good shout as well.
Left wing.
Yes, yeah, and versatile to go either left wing or left back.
That left side will be Burrows. It's a brilliant.
I think that strengthens us straight away. Even if you just think of it as a squad build, I think that strengthens us. We're a better side for that signing. So I agree with that as well. Go on then, babyface Brett.
A bit unrealistic, but obviously I'd go for Radona.
Oh, would you?
I'd love Radona to come back.
That's a statement. That's a statement signing, isn't it? Where does he fit? Where does he fit?
George.
Well, it depends on who goes, doesn't it? That's the thing. We don't know where positions are going to be free. So, but if you say I could have anybody from Championship, other than my end or Mundell from Sunderland, somewhere with a bit of pace. But yeah, Radona probably the best one.
Okay. I'd have to put Jimmy Dunn.
Feeder team, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Like Watford were years ago.
I'd take Ben Sheaf. I'd take Bobby Thomas. I'd take a couple of their players. I think they're a good side. But I would go Jimmy Dunn personally. And I know that's a boring shout, really, because it's expected. I know it's expected to happen. It's not really a sort of groundbreaking.
What is a solid signing?
I definitely think he improves us. Yeah. I think at the moment, the two main, when I look at the back line, the two positions that I'm very, very happy with is Cooper and Burrows. And if you get Jimmy Dunn in, I add a third to that. I think that's right back, left back, and goalkeeper sorted. and we don't have to worry, barring injury, obviously, and form dropping off a cliff, then we don't have to worry about those positions all season. And I'm not saying we can't have a side that, you don't just want to stick with 11. I understand that. But to have, particularly at the back, have a solid foundation, I think is really, really important. Let's just get some comments before we get 2 in front. What about Baptiste? I'm not sure he's ready, Jamie, but I haven't seen enough of him, to be honest, to know whether he's on that trajectory to the first team. I'm a little bit more about liking players to get out and play minutes on loan. I understand the benefits of staying with the first team and what they can gain in training from playing with better players and training around better players. It's obviously worked for players like Siddy Peck and Ollie Arblaster. But Blaster also had a loan out for half a season with Port Vale, and it absolutely accelerated his development. He was the main man in their team when we took him out of there, and they ended up getting relegated as soon as they lost him because they plummeted. So Big Tony says, "Evening, lads. Sorry can't get to the live, but just wanted to pop my face in, up the blades. Thank you for jumping on, Big Tony. I thought brilliant debut on Ramble on the Road. Hope it's not the last we've seen of you on the channel. Certainly next season, doing a few more with yourself and Joseph and Little G. Absolutely brilliant, that. Sorry, Jim, but Jackie Longthrow is a no from me in any formation, says Lee. He's at least 1 error a game in him, and the amount of pressure he puts on Burrows with the poor passes under pressure is terrible." Yes. Does anybody agree with Lee's comment, apart from me?
Yeah.
Does anybody else? Do you, Roy? Do you feel that's it's not too strong? You think he's got an error in it? Mark, I know we always. I've seen Mark's head go right back there.
I'm not saying out. Carry on.
Okay, right, Mark's pleading the fifth on that one. Anybody else?
To be fair, though, if you're playing three centre backs, he's got 2 of the centre backs to watch him.
Yeah, they can share parental responsibility.
Take time off.
I don't mind him as much in a 3. I know what Lee's saying. If I had my choice, I'd have I'd have a one-legged Jack O'Connell there instead of Jack Robinson personally. But I don't mind him as much. Yeah, he'd start himself there instead of him as well. Clarky.
Well, I've said this to you before, mate. It's not a binary decision, is it? Just because you don't think he's great doesn't mean he's rubbish.
Correct.
I think he's a perfectly adequate championship mid-table defender.
Absolutely.
But we want to be better than that. Yeah. So it's a no for me because I want a better centre half in there.
Clarky, this is why you need to come on more often. If you sort of level people out with that's what I actually mean to say, but I'm not as eloquent as that, then you would have saved me a lot of earache over the season. So that's exactly where I land on it. It's certainly nothing personal. I don't rate him as a top championship centre half, and that is what we're striving to be. And he is not, in my opinion, he's not that level. I don't think he gets into any of the. Yeah, I don't think he gets into any at 3 relegated sides. I don't think he gets into the top end of the. Does he even get in Coventry's side ahead of Thomas and Kitchen? I'm not entirely sure. He certainly wouldn't have got in the Sunderland, Burnley, and Leeds sides. So it's a no from me in terms of where we want to be. If we're talking about we need to improve on McCallum to push Burrows better, McCallum's a good backup option. Robinson would be a good backup option in my opinion. But if we're talking about really pushing Burrows or really pushing Cooper, for example, and we're levelling up in those areas, then you've got to have your starting centre-back at a higher standard than what we've got there, personally. Tom says, Tom not from Barnsley, brilliant work on some of the animations that you are posting in the group at the minute. I know you've done some work for Dry Bry. I know you've done a couple of images that you've produced that I've nicked and put on one at Ramble things, and I did credit you for it, but well done, mate. Keep on with that. I think it's really good stuff. Evening Ramblers, watching the chat explode into panic this afternoon around the potential McBurney return has been very entertaining. Yeah, that's one word for it. My dad's pal, the German David Winter. Don't think we'll lose any of the big hitters. Just need to add pace on the wings and centre half. I think 4-4-2 is more threatening and will give us more goals. Trust Wilder to get it right, up the blades, up all the Rambles. Well, before I come to the last few comments, I don't want to dwell on this in terms of being a point that we keep coming back to. So I'm just going to try and put it to bed now with some Ramblers thoughts. Chris Wilder. That's all I'm going to say, really. Chris Wilder. What are people's thoughts on Chris Wilder being the man? And people know how I feel. And you don't necessarily have to agree with anything I say. I think he's the man to lead us forward into this rebuild 2.0, if you like, the continuation of the big rebuild that he started. I wouldn't change him for anybody. Brett, would you consider changing the manager at this stage?
No chance. Like I say, in other ways, like, who you're going to get in that's better, that's got more promotions on his CV, knows club. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's still only halfway through a rebuild. He started a rebuild with formation and team in mind. He's only got half of that now, so
I agree.
You've got to give him a full chance to go for it.
You look at
End
signings
of season, end of next season, he's probably not got an excuse. Do you know what I mean? If we miss out again, you can say he's had 2 full seasons where he's got to build it. So
yeah,
this season it'd be harsh to let him go now.
I think so too. Dave?
No way. Keep him.
I knew I could rely on you, mate. I knew I could rely on you. Even Roy's nodding at this one. Go on, Roy.
He is the Messiah, isn't he?
Yes,
I mean,
he is the Messiah.
I love him. Although if he signs McBurney, he might be
Very naughty boy at that
boy.
point.
He might not be a Messiah. He might be a very naughty boy.
He's a Messiah, but I want nothing to do with him ever again. If he signs McBurney.
That's it. He is the Messiah, but nobody's perfect. But no, I wouldn't get. I'd give him a 10-year contract. I love him.
I would personally, but you know that's us. We are part of the cult. I think it's known as.
We've seen a lot worse. I think that's his upside.
Bloody right we are.
Ryan Robson always makes me think of a lot better everybody that comes into
Yeah,
the squad.
Madkins and his flying geese.
Madkins, yeah. What's the biggest room in your house? The room for improvement. Oh no, Larky. Do you want the return of Nigel Adkins, or are you sticking with Chris Wilder?
God no. No, just in trying to be sensible about it. I always think if you're gonna build a side, you've got to give a manager 3 windows, and you can't look at last season January as a window. So at the very least, it deserves this window to put the side together, have a good season at it. Then, like you're always going to do is reevaluate at the end of the season, see what it's like then. But for me, absolutely not. He has to stay in position.
You look at the turnover here, and we could be in a very different, much more balanced position as a squad, couldn't we, come the start of the season? Yeah. So we are judging now on something that we have no idea how it's going to go. And I agree with you. I think it's certainly got to be Chrissy Wilder to lead us. Marco, I know you're a fan as well. What's your thoughts, mate?
Oh, 100%. I like Roy said, 10-year contract, give him as many years as he wants. The thing is, and I've said this before, we could get rid of Wilder and bring somebody in who people think is better than him. They're a better manager. They've had better success. But the fact is, they will not get it like he gets it. He's one of us. And this is what I'm saying. I'm a bit like you said, Clarky, 3 windows at least, but I still think if we did what we did again last season and we finished with 90-odd points and we didn't go up again, he's still man for me.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. And that's he just gets it, and he's one of us, isn't he? So
I feel like, I mean, I used to not lean on that a lot. I used to talk about that a lot, where he gets it, and those that are Wilder detractors rightly say, yeah, but that's a bit of a nothing statement in terms of it doesn't, I get the club and I couldn't be manager and all this sort of thing, and I understand that, but with the way he improves the way I feel about my football club because of the way he cares about the football club. And I think it depends what you want out of a manager in terms, and the most stark example I can give, and this is no criticism of him as a manager at all, but you go back to the Slav days, and yes, it didn't go well on the field, but I felt no connection to him at all, not one bit. I couldn't, I'm a big press conference guy who likes to listen to the managers and sort of work out where their head's at and stuff. I didn't watch him. I stopped watching their press conference because I couldn't.
Nobody could understand him.
But I couldn't relate to him at all. He didn't get us, and that is certainly not the be all and end all of a manager. If he's successful on the pitch, you sometimes overlook that, and it's as I say, it's not everything, but it means an awful lot, particularly to us Blades who have been through difficult times with the club being. I've not liked some of our players in years gone by, and I've not liked managers. That Adkins season where they're all going, all of us that are old enough to remember it, remember the players going round and getting it's supposed to be a walk around at end of season to all get clapped off. The atmosphere was horrendous, absolutely.
I was just going to say on that Adkins, I went to Gillingham on that opening day, and I remember we stood outside that pub. We were saying, "Oh, Jamie Murphy, Billy Sharp, all these players out of Che Adams." We lost 4-0, and I remember a bloke chucked his season ticket at him, and then week after I saw him at pub, and it's like,
because he'd been sacked.
Farm Road, yeah. Now it's just we've had some bad managers. I mean, he was just absolute lunatic. Him, Jukanovic were a good manager, he had good pedigree, but he didn't have players.
Yeah,
he didn't have
wrong
squad.
fit. Wrong fit. Pedigree were right, wrong fit.
I just think people they've touched on it before, like that defeat at Wembley, and people couldn't wait to slag manager off. They couldn't wait.
Yeah.
But end of the day, players have got to take some responsibility. You can argue subs weren't right, this and other, but end of the day, I'd go through all that again and have him as our manager. 100%. I want anybody else, and anybody in our league would have him as the manager. 100%.
They would.
They'd have him across City.
I think, unfortunately, you get this with all fan bases. It's not just Blades, but I think some people would rather be right than have a team be successful. To be honest, they'd rather say, "Told you, Wilder won't do it for us. He's useless." Then, brilliant, we've got up. Do you know what I mean? It's
Falls, mate.
I know
Falls.
the fat boy who he told at Plymouth you're getting relegated.
Oh no! Oh no! And that is Chris Wilder in a nutshell, isn't it? Because
that's what I loved.
He's a flawed character. He's a flawed character, but he's real, and that's what we are.
He's a fan.
We're a working class club that you've either worked all your life and then now get to enjoy, like David, who consumes as much stuff as he can on United now, or you work all week and you can't wait to get to see United at weekend. And that is what we go for. That we go for that real. We don't want somebody that's telling us about the room for improvement and the geese that you have to follow and stuff like that. We don't follow geese where we're from, do we? We don't.
Players did it. Players did it at all.
They do. We want somebody and I walked past Josephine's and we pushed Toddy in Fountain. And can I wear that? Can I wear that, Mayor? Can I wear that? We want somebody who's there with Peroni at end of season. I could go on for ages about this. You talk about him in pub with sausage roll chant. Anybody would love anybody.
Yeah,
with their manager doing it from their place, they'd beaten their rivals. A lad who was born and brought up in that area, they would absolutely. If Leeds had a Chris Wilder and they just beat Bradford City, their main rivals, I'm not going to say Man United. If they beat Harrogate Town in faces local rivalry they've got, and if their manager had been up on table singing about Harrogate Town manager, they'd have loved it, and that's what we love about Chris United. We might as well be Chris United at this stage.
Chris United.
Chris Wilder.
You take the good, you take the bad.
Exactly, David. Exactly right, mate. Because you know what you're getting with him, and everything that you get in terms of his flaws, he makes up for it in other ways. In my opinion, the motivation, what he's going to give to you. You know that he will not be resting. He's on his holidays now, but you know he won't. His phone will be on and he'll be doing deals and stuff, and Mrs. will be looking over at him saying, "Can you not just give us 5 minutes?" And he'll be, "No, I can't, love, I'm afraid, because I'm trying to get back to the Premier League." So
regular updates on our blaster.
Yes, yeah, exactly right. That's one way to keep his star player, isn't it? So,
he's inspirational.
He is.
You talk about those press conferences.
Yeah,
he gets me up for games. Imagine what he's like in the changing room.
Yeah,
Clark, you can be feeling lukewarm about a game or even disappointed about the game that's just finished, gone before, and you finish watching his press conference and you think, "Brilliant! I'm up for this. We're going to go again, aren't we? We're going to go again."
Imagine how he's getting them going in that dressing room. It must be brilliant.
It's like that Wembley press conference. Like I were a bit like, "Oh, I don't know about this," and I watched that. I thought we're going to do it.
I know. I remember you putting it in chat. You were buzzing, weren't you, in chat? That's it now. I'm sold. I'm doing it. Yeah,
that's it. And Jukanovic, but other way, we'd have a defeat, and I'd just feel like going into absolute depression. Like it was so bad. It was so bad. His face and everything it was just ridiculous. But anybody who wants a different manager, then you're absolutely bonkers.
What did you say? Give the head a wobble.
Give
Give
them
that
a
a
wobble.
double. Yeah, that's right.
As Liam
Lee
says, they're deluded.
yeah, that's right. We need 4 centre-backs. Dunn, Darling, O'Shaw and Courtney Hawes, all free, plus a loan like Callum Doyle. Also pick up a young lad for development who has some experience like Junior Diaz at Troyes. I know how to say that after, what's his name, Yasser. Or Brahim Traore at Cannes. Okay, I'm going to take your word for that, Lee. I can't say I know anything about any of them. Either of them, should I say. Would adore to see Tommy back at the lane, says Tom. Statman Jack says, I want to see Dunn ASAP. Can you believe he hasn't lost a single aerial duel this season? Absolute unit of a play. No, I can't believe that. Brilliant. That is an incredible stat. I cannot believe it.
Anyway,
if he's playing right back and he's up against wingers, then I would fancy him in most. But still, even then, 100% of your duels is incredible. Lee says, if you could have any signing, it'd be between Radoni, who I've liked since his Wimbledon days. All right. Just getting in there that he knew about him before most of us did. Or Chet Vertadze from Watford. Wouldn't mind Loser either. I really like Loser. Yeah. Sousa and Loser in the middle.
Let's hope he's not a loser.
Yeah, he's a good player, pal. He's a good player.
Looks more like Louser.
Yeah, we'll call him Louser. Yeah. He might be lousy.
Louser and Sousa.
Louser and Sousa, Loser and Sousa. Obviously, Jimmy Dunn as well, as I've been banging on about him for 18 months. Yes, 18 years, Lee. Why don't you just say that? Why don't you take credit for all the players that we're linked with? Jamie says, Robbo coming back since Sousa left might make Burrows slightly drop off second half of the season. Makes sense. Absolutely, it makes sense. It all adds up, mate. Evening, lads. Only just joined. Does anyone
blame you for everything?
No, nobody's.
No, let's not go back there. Braxton, good evening, pal. Don't think we need another striker. Just creativity and pace behind them. Yeah, I think that's fair. And if we stick to this formation, that's exactly what we'll be looking at, like we've touched on earlier. And Daz with the final comment of 10 years ago, Adkins became our saviour. Yeah, only you could have those heady days back. Look, and there'll be some watching. Cheers for the flowers, Jim says Lee. Jamie Dumpling, who was a young 2-year-old probably at that stage 10 years ago, will not remember those days, I wouldn't have thought. So you have got it good now, pal. With Christy Wilder. Trust me on that. As some older blokes will tell you. Lads, anything else you want to talk about before I have to go and talk to Jamie Dumpling for a couple of hours? We're going to be watching what we're going to be doing now. We're going to be watching Germany against Portugal. And not only that, I've had to pay for it on pay-per-view. So make sure you tune in, please. And support us on that.
What about Jamie? He's had to buy Amazon Prime for no reason.
We're playing match bingo, and I'm hoping I win because I'll need to win after paying for pay-per-view. So
it's going to be nil-nil in it tonight. It's going to be nil-nil in it.
Why are you saying that? That's it. Get people to tune in, Mark. Appreciate that, pal. Anyway, that's by the by. Any final points you want to raise, lads?
3-2 Germany.
2-2 Germany.
3-2 Germany.
3-2 Germany. We all joking aside, we'll get a little look at. Is it Florian Wirtz or Fabian Wirtz?
He's a good player. I watched Bundesliga, Jimmy. He is brilliant.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe. I think Liam said we're linked with him in chat, so maybe if he plays well, United might be in with a chance of getting him.
You want 120 million?
Right. Okay. Well, we'll go to 100, and then they'll have to settle at that. I think.
Isn't it like we were linked with? We've gone to Man City for like 45-50 million. That defender.
Yeah.
We've been looking at a couple of seasons ago.
Johnny Reindeer.
Johnny Reinders, isn't it? Yeah.
Right, that's right. Well, gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much for joining me this evening. 8 years old. Yes, I know, mate.
What, you're 8 years old now?
Yeah, I think that's what he's got to, yeah. Stop watching Stabnicki presses. Couldn't resist.
Hey, top man, Jamie.
He's a top man. I know he's got credit in bank with you, hasn't he, Dave? He's
not really dumpling, is it?
Yeah, he's a good lad. Well, you'll see him in 5 minutes anyway. So thank you, everybody, for joining. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards.
Of the blade.